Well, that'll sort the sound out, but we now just need the graphics. Oh, adverts. Let's have a look. Oh, pretty adverts. All right, sound check is okay. We're here. We're here. Run a chat room, which is no good to us. Put us onto main, and let's see what we can do. Okay. Your original code, current code. Monster AI update to use ECS. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. I have some queries today. So I'm going to do a bit of a review on the code that I've written. My mind started to say, hold on a minute. And it was in here. Okay. So we pass in an entity ID. It'll sort out the component. Detects collisions with walls. Detects collisions with a monster. Ah. And then we move. The entity isn't one. And we update the position in the monster manual. Now, why are we doing it in the monster manual? That's... That's my question. We're doing it in here because we have a full map of them. Gotcha. Is that the map we are referring to when we detect? Yes, it is. So we have to put a proviso on here. Like that. Now we can use an else if. Not liking that idea. So that proviso is wrong. Doesn't go there. Right. That's fine. So if entity ID is equal to a 1, and we return that, otherwise we return, because it'll be a creature that's moved, action, none. We don't want them to take an action. They can't move onto each other, in other words. Otherwise, we will then update the entity position, and if it's not the player, we update the monster manual. Position. And that's correct. So it's just that little bit that was going to catch us out, I think. I wanted to review it because I knew there was something not quite right with it. And that's what was, it was just the logic wasn't there for the monsters to take no action. Which I think is a good idea to have that. So if I copy that, you see this can be turned into a function and I can't be bothered, so I don't really care actually. I can just do that, can't I? There we go. So now we're allowing monsters to use this, not just the player. Okay. So back in our monster AI, we should be able to improve it. That's the component. This is why I wanted to know whether I should make it into a system or not, and I didn't. I wanted to keep it here in the dungeon monsters because if we do land maps, the AI could be totally different. In here we're doing the Dijkstra map. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, that's working all right. We know that is. We don't need to register the monster on the AI map. I don't think we're using it. Excuse me. 2, 3, 4 means delete. Right, let's have a look at our mean AI. Now we don't need to look up the monster position now, or do we? We don't need all of this stuff here. We just need to know its X and Z. Why do we need this? We don't. Alright, I'm going to delete that line. There we go. And see what problems it makes. Alright, it affects our if statement. Okay. That's fine, so we'll keep it. That takes the value of the Dijkstra map, and we check that to see if we can move the monster. In other words, it's greater than 1. More than 1 square away from the player. Let's explain it a little bit better, shall we? Now we don't know which way to move. So we set north, south, west and east to false. Okay. Wonder why I didn't put left, right, forwards and backwards. Maybe we should. Okay. Note, we are not allowed to move to a 9999 tile. Correct. Check cardinal direction. Set new position if available. North is -1 on the z-axis, which is left. We check correctly. We can check that easily by looking at this on left. -1 in the z direction is left. Okay. So north is left. Let's put the notes in. So that's equal to player move right. Because we haven't kept it constant. Which means we need to seriously think about altering the way I've programmed this. Or the variable names at least. West is back. And east is forwards. Once you've got that in your head, it's fine, but those notes should not be needed. So what we'd now do is we go through the cardinal points, north, south, east and west, or west and east, whichever way around you want to do it. And we check all the different directions. And we set each one to true if they are. And then we decide which true value to use. So this is where we should be using the system. Yes. And we only need to use the monster ID. We don't need to send through the position. It can happily find its own position. I'm not sure we need to do it in here. Alright, well what I'll do then is switch it off. So we don't have monster position. That will... we can't then look up... Yeah, we do need it here, damn it. Hoping we could get rid of it. Never mind. Okay, so z-axis equals -1. Is left, isn't it? Yep. So really what we want here is that. And we don't have it. So there we go. How are we doing for people joining us today? Oh, thank you for joining us. That's I'm impressed. I didn't think anybody would want to watch this kind of thing. Because really, making a full game is not easy. It can take a long time. It can take up to 5 years to get a full RPG going. We are in year 2 now. Well, we haven't got to year 2 yet because I didn't start it till halfway through last year or something silly like that. So yeah, we're alright now. I want the entity ID, which we passed in. Now that gives a result. Move or no move. For a creature, it won't give a melee result. It'll either give action none or action moved. So it's irrelevant to us. We don't need it. Because neither of those two responses are useful to us. That does update our movement. So that's good. So our monster manual update position is now done in the system. There. And there. In each section. So that was move left. This is going to be interesting if it works. Because we've literally just taken a load of code out. So this will need cleaning. And for south, now I've got a problem with this because we've just checked each one. Which means we can go in diagonals. And as we saw before, monsters can move in diagonals. Now I can leave it that way. But is that fair to the player? It'll stop the player kiting. But it'll make it impossible to run away. It's just as a maneuver in the game which guarantees that you can kill things. And it's a valid tactic. Okay. It's not equal to z-axis. I think that's wrong. If we've moved position 2 here, then that will cause it to move back again. So that checks if position 2 of the monster... we haven't reloaded it. Whereas here we don't need to reload it because we were altering it here. This if statement doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so all of this doesn't work anymore. That's okay. Control Shift / return. Oops. Control Z. Thank you. We can replace the whole of that with system move entity right. That's going to cause a problem. They can counteract each other. Okay. So be it. West. System move back. Yeah. Oh, thank you, phone. We are online, are we? That's nice to hear. Bless you. Bit late today, Twitch, on telling me that I'm live. And again, here we're going to cause the same problem. Okay. As long as we know that there's a problem, well, is it or isn't it? I don't know. Am I overthinking things? Don't know. Forward, please. Plus on the x-axis. Monster ID. That does it. The rest stays the same. Because there's our attack. Does that mean they will move on to the player? Yes, it does. It's the less than. Mm-hmm. So all of the less thans that's equal to. We check equals to and we do a less than. The less than has to be careful. Yeah, I agree with that. If it should be less than or equal to. Probably. Do I care? No. Not at this stage, I don't. At least I'm trying to watch chat today. That's a bonus for me. Because I noticed a few people logging in to have a quick look at what I was doing. And this is going to cause a problem. Monsters will move on to the player. We've got it at the top though. It's got to be greater than 1. They'll only move it greater than 1. That's the catch-all, isn't it? That'll work. That'll stop it happening. Okay. We'll pray on that one. Okay. So true for attack. Okay. We've already accounted for that. I wonder what's going to happen. Well, it didn't blow up in my face, and we do have a wandering monster. Movement's okay. Positioning of things is okay. That's fine. No idea where the wandering monster is, but... Ah, there they are. Yep, definitely following me. Definitely is monster attacks. We move away. Moved into monster. Monster attacks. We are not attacking now. We cannot detect that monster. We can detect statics, but not moving. Yeah, running away is a viable option. Until you do that, and it attacks. That K is solid. Player attacks. So, that is correct. That is incorrect. So our collision with monster doesn't work for the wandering. Okay. Monsters are working fine. Now we need player collision with wandering monsters. As the other one is already correct. So the monster AI has been updated to use the system move. Monster AI updated to use system movement in the ECS. Now we just need to know why we can't collide with a wandering monster. So let's take a look at that. All starts with game turn, and I think it's because we've done it the wrong way round. I don't think the player can attack because we haven't done that. We're not updated. But it should still be holding the correct values. But as I saw there, you can also pull one square away and run away, which is an invalid move. What I want to try is taking those lines and placing them after the monsters. See if that changes anything. The behaviour. Well, it does change the behaviour of the game. Oh, plenty of wandering monsters here. Let's go and see if we can find one. Any down here? No? Okay. Any up? Ah, yeah, we've got one moving across there. Oh, there's somebody else. Ah, right, he's found us. So he moves before I do. doesn't seem to work as well. Gets his attacking as you move away. That seems to work better. And they are still... Yeah, it's not right. You can't move on top of each other, people. Our collision detection's not correct. It knows when to attack because it's not... That's got nothing to do with collision detection. So, my assumption that our collision detection works was bad. Now we're both using the same collision detection. If Monster Manual check location XZ is not equal to unused, return true for collision. Okay. That goes back to the system. So we detect collision with monster into position X plus 1, which should be correct. We can do this better because we have the entity ID and we have the entity position. I see. We change the position there. So that should be X minus 1. We have to compensate for that. We want the old position, not the new one. And then we can add 1 to it. Minus 1. So we have to do the opposite. We have to do plus 1 there. We've taken 1 off the Z axis, so we have to add it back on to the update. Add it onto the Z axis, so we have to take it off for the update to work. I knew there was something wrong with the update. I'm just trying to find out where it is. It wasn't updating correctly. Oh, we do have a wandering monster. Okay. Because static is working. Oh dear. What have we done? Oh, player's attacking a wandering monster now, but its value's screwed. X, Y, Z. It's going through the alphabet. 1 is being added to its ASCII code somewhere. And we did that by altering this. Interesting. Why would its ID change? Because it's taking Somehow it's leaking through from the Dijkstra map. Okay. How? Let's have a look at our monster manual. Update. Let's remove position, yeah. Update. Ah, that's wrong. You can't have an if remove position, can we? Yes, we can. It is a bool. Yeah, it is. That's where the problem is. We are not sending the monster ID in. And it's changing. How can that be? I think we should just send the entity ID in here and use ECS properly. Am I taking shortcuts here? Have we at any time updated the position properly? Entity position, entity position. Yes, we have. Okay. Because it was wrong before, it couldn't pick it up as wrong. So it's actually looking for it in a previous place. No, it is in a previous place. So when we come to render it, there's two versions of it. Interesting spawn activity, if that's what I was intending it to be. Okay, so the error in the logic starts in here. Let's go down to what we're doing. Here we go. Update the game logic. Entities to render is taken in or asked for there, and we're sending it through to game turn. But we're not passing it back out. Corrected. So I've actually got the old entities to render still here. We haven't got the updated version. Game turn alters it. Let's take a look at that. So game turn is taking in entities to render. Why? Do we ever use it? That's probably the problem. No, we don't. We just ignored it. And use the monster manual. Now, I don't know where in the entities to render that is going to be, and that's the problem. This needs to update entities to render. Because at the moment, it's coming in here, we're not doing anything with it, and we are updating positions. Interesting. So if we're not using it, what the hell do we need it for? Order matters. Doesn't break anything, does it? Oh, it does one thing. Oh, right. Breaks that. Why aren't you happy? Because you are being called incorrectly. Okay. That's right. That one's okay. Okay. Taking it out, nothing changes. take the game turn, then take entities to render. That's what the logic dictates. Oh my god, we've got stuff everywhere. It's not removing the old one. So this is just going to spam. Yeah, it's just spamming. Yeah, that'll crash as well eventually if I'm not careful. It's not removing the old one. Interesting. Entities to, yeah. It doesn't make sense. Let's see if it'll crash before I get to it. Now the monster does attack back. There you go. It ran out of letters. Okay. Yeah. Monster ID, yeah. I'm just interested why it doesn't behave the same way on the player. Considering I'm using the same ECS system to do this with. So monster manual check location. I mean, obviously, if any of you people who are watching know, drop it in the comments or whatever. Location access should not mess anything up. Shouldn't. Yeah. That one's working. That one isn't. Z plus direction Z. I don't think I need that if statement there. I can see some logic errors. Well, not logic errors, but logic difficulties, which I wasn't expecting. Actually, I was, because I remembered that from the other day. I was working that through in my mind again. When do you render? Do you render then move? Then take the game turn. And you're always one frame behind, which is correct then. Frame that you see is the one that you react to. That's a difficult question because there's a double whammy in that, because of the way that we've done it. Which is why I haven't just jumped in and changed it. Could be an interesting one, but we've got an interesting effect as it is. You get 26 moves to complete the game. Because we run out of letters. So where the entity was, it's picking up an entity. Which means it's not deleting the entity. That should be impossible. Int monster ID. Nope, don't like it. That part's working alright though. What is it? Hold on a minute. Run that through. I might have the error incorrectly in my mind. Okay. Fire attacks, yeah. Fine. Just trying to find another monster. I can't see him. Ah, there he is. No, the creature is actually adding 1 to itself. To its VAO. That's not correct. So that has to be transferred to here. We are getting incorrect data for it. Hmm. Interesting. Let's give it the correct data for starters. That's the first thing we're going to do. Okay. That's irrelevant. There's no if. Remove x, z. We have to do it. There's no if. And then we have to add. Okay. That's what we really need to do. We need to remove the old position and then add the new position. And we must keep the monster ID constant all the way through the process. I've got a semicolon missing. Oh. Yeah. There you go. Okay, hasn't crashed. It didn't attack back. Mm-hmm. No wandering monster. A wandering monster, we've got one. Oops, it's a player attack. Okay, I've got a monster attacking me, but it's invisible. It's there. but it's not showing. So it's working now on Wandering Monsters, but no visibility. So Wandering Monsters are now solid. Oh, they are underneath the ground. I can't see them. Probably. It's not. Oh, it just appeared. What has? And it appears. Okay. Groovy. Well, it's an interesting idea. Is moving the entity. What is happening is the rendering isn't updating. Now, the rendering is just a list of entity IDs. So it shouldn't have any choice about the matter. It doesn't matter when we create it. What matters is that the component gets updated. collisions are now working, as far as I can tell. Why position Z? Oh, this is, yeah, go right. That is screwballish. The entity position is updated. It doesn't matter what happens to it after that. That can go. This is an address. The address position is updated, so it doesn't matter. This should just stream a load of monsters. I bet it doesn't. Okay, that's invisible. And erroneous. We shouldn't need a monster update. Monster manual update. It's got nothing to do with the rendering. As I've just shown. The positions are updating. The whole system knows it's there. The renderer doesn't. Do we update the rendering? We don't need to. Entity update, yeah. Entity update just gives back that. That's been created elsewhere. When you create an entity? Nope. Entity add to rendering. Yeah. So this is being created elsewhere, and this is one of the problems that I have already with this, is that we only have one list, entities to render, which is not correct. We are adding the entities at the wrong time to this. But it doesn't matter because we need to see the full game board at this point in time. They're actually getting added here in dungeon level generation. Now this never changes. When you add, all we're doing is adding an entity ID. When we change something on the ECS, it should be picked up by the renderer automatically. We change the component position, then the renderer should know. It's automatic. And we can see that in render model. Render the map, yeah. Render the model, there you go. Component model position, model position. Look up the model position for entities to render in the eyes position. And then we render that model at that position. We can set that component anywhere we like within the program. Dungeon Monster Generator. Dungeon Random Pointing Room. Monster Manual add to lair, if it's a lair. Where's Monster Manual add? To Wandering. Doesn't matter for us. Ah, yeah, there we are. It's there. And that's where that print comes from. Where do we add these things to render? Monster Manual add to Wandering. That's interesting. Entity initialize, yeah, okay. We don't initialize the AI. Why not? Here. Component underscore that should be there. That's been missed. player, GUI, start the main game loop, entities to render is cleared, GUI to render is cleared, text to render is cleared, actions taken is none. If it hasn't happened yet, generate a dungeon level. Keyboard. Okay. User input. Gives us an action taken. And then we update the logic. This doesn't matter. The dungeon's doing it somehow, but I can't remember how. Oh God, I wish my memory wasn't as this bad. Monster manual, add to layer. Okay, this is where we create the entity and add it to rendering. Alright, it's got me this one. Somewhere it's unhooked itself. But once we've added it to rendering, that's it. That will never change. So where is it actually rendering our model is the question. No coffee. Okay. Well, that's got me puzzled. Puzzly, puzzly, puzzled. All the monster manual is used for is to track where the monsters are. Collision detection. That's all. Why do we need game state current? It's just action taken, isn't it? This is the problem that I've got, this entities to render business. I want to change that into entities wandering or something. And I can't, because that's all we've got to work with. And the entities to render doesn't change because we haven't got a combat system. So no entities are removed from the map at this point. Hmm. Why would the VAO ID be changing? Let's do some hunting. Entity underscore ID %D in render queue. And that will be entities to render I. Hmm. Up to 36. 01910 up to 36. Make a move. Now gone to 38. 2 were added. We are adding entities are being added. Is the answer. How can that be? Entity 37 and 38 shouldn't be there. But there are 2 wandering monsters. No, there are 3. How many attacks? 1. Okay. We're on 38 now. $39.40, $41.42, $3.44, so it's been 2 in twos, in pairs. Who's adding these entities? Remember, every single time it's blanked out. This is where I really could do with oxygen. So we are adding extra entities per loop, at least 2. And the only way to add an entity, I believed initially, was here. Correct? Correct. Monster check, update. Add to wandering is doing it there. Why are we adding it to the wandering list? Yet again. We don't need to. All we need to do is place the monster ID in the correct place, isn't it? Component model position. We've already done that, haven't we? So we're actually adding entities. So that's why the problem exists. That's wrong. Wandering monsters. Let's look at wandering monsters a minute. That's what we should have. There. That's the command. That's wrong. X plus direction X. Location Z. And it just is monster ID. That can go away. Done. Yeah, that's correct now. K was able to walk into me on a diagonal. We have to remove the diagonals. That's the next step. Right, so we've fixed it. We've actually fixed the system. The wandering monsters are now wandering properly. Excellent. I knew it should just work without messing. Right, so I've got that bit correct now. Monsters wander, but use diagonal movement, which messes things up. Right, so we've sorted it. Excellent. I found out what the problem is. It was just a bit of bad code. Right. So I was right about the main game loop. Doesn't really matter. This just doesn't matter where you put it. Excellent. Sorted. Now, we need to sort out this diagonal movement thing. I knew it was there, and I said it was probably going to cause a problem, and it just has. Diagonal movement won't check for the 0. So it will move on to the player and mess things up. So we need to alter our movement to incorporate that. And we know where the problem is. It's here. Hmm. Okay. North is true, it does that. If south is true, it does that. We should be returning at that point. We should be returning faults. Because they moved. That's the simple answer, but it's not the correct one. So we'll just put it in for testing. I mean, it'll work, it'll stop the diagonal movement, but it won't be the be all and end all. What we have to do. Later on, maybe. You see, we return false there at the end of that. We don't need to now. So we can come out of there. That should stop diagonals. Oh, and we've been placed on the square with a monster. Okay. Oh, with two monsters. Oh, it's blocking me. That's clever. Well, the player should move first. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Oh, come back here. Yeah, player attacks, monster attacks. Okay, we've got that bit, but the player has to move first. Okay. Working. I'll have to revert this now. Or it'll look silly. You can't run away. Yeah. That's my original thoughts of where to place it, so let's do that. Yeah, we do have wandering monsters. And they've got one coming towards us. We bump into it, and monster attacks, player attacks. Move away from it. Monster still gets its attack. That is correct. They are not moving diagonally. Ah. But we can move on to each other for some reason. Because the Dijkstra map is done before the player moves. Alright, okay. Player moves, then Dijkstra out. That would have really bitten us. And, oh, God. No Wanderers. Don't have to be Wanderers in this game. Nothing wandering around. Haven't added that part of the game yet. Something's looking weird. Wandering, okay. Okay, we've got 2 of them now, which means I can't test it. We're actually blocked in. And we're getting monster attacks all over the place. I'm going to die. Alright, okay. Single wandering monster. Right, it now stays with us and attacks us. We can't break that. If we are in melee, we have to stay in melee. Is that correct from the original game? Let's see. What happens if I try the corner move? Oh. Wow. It follows beautifully. No, you can't. I think we might keep that. The attacks are correct. The trouble is now I can't test. Oh, wait, no, I might be able to. No, I can't. It's a definite follow. It's got you. Good. Monster attacks, it's got you. You can delay the inevitable, but you can't avoid. Right. Okay. This might work. Right, what it doesn't check for is the statics. Activating. Right, well, we'll think about that separately. We've nearly got a game turn. I'm not overly happy with the way it's working. It should be attack. No, that is correct. That should give the correct response within game. My God, I think we've done it. First game turn created with wandering monsters reacting. Lovely. On that note, I want a cup of coffee. I think I've earned it. I think that's been a bit of brilliance on my behalf. We found the error I made. We'd taken a look at the possibilities. I don't think I've taken a look at all of the possibilities. If I change the movement in any way, would it change the end result of that part? No, it wouldn't. Right, that's good. So I don't need to worry about that just yet. Hopefully, we'll stop monsters walking into each other, but we'll see. We'll see. Come on, you. Thank you, putty cats. Right, I'm just going to go for a break, so I'm supposed to switch you over to chatting. No idea what that is. So, just grabbing a coffee. So who's this Ampero33 and why is he stuck on my screen? Weird. we have coffees, and I'm very happy. Yes. Tina says KBS upload goes yellow. It'd only be set at 6,000. Why is he trying to get to 8? I don't know. So I'm happy with that. Now, obviously, we're only now doing, on the game turn, monsters that are mean. Hmm. Okay, we've got an X, we've got a Z. We look up the location. We grab the component AI. So really, all we need is an else if. And it's held in Monster AI Dijkstra. I need the value. I need the value at that point. So it's Monster AI lookup map. And it's going to return nothing. True or false. So bool Monster AI map compare. Yeah. Map compare. Int value. Yeah, I'll do. I just need to make a function that will give us a comparison. So, value x, int z. I need to know where. Alrighty. Yep, settle down. Yep, we're okay. All we're going to do is straightforward. If the monster AI map value at x x z is less than or equal to value, then return true. That's all we're going to do. Nothing spectacular going on here. So, if the monster is mean, it takes a game turn. Else if, now if, you may as well use the same AI, it doesn't matter. We'll still get a bill back. If monster map compare value 10, let's say 10 squares from x and z. Yeah, that's right. X, comma, z. So if the monster is 10 units away from the player, it's also going to take an action. So it's just that. We've got the ID, haven't we? Yeah. Right, that will activate static monsters and move them. And we can use the mean because they will change from a layer monster into a mean monster. We don't need to change the data. That's important. Not to change the data. I need to know if they're a lair monster or a mean monster, a wandering monster to begin with. Now all of the static monsters should react to the player's presence. Just with those 2 lines, we should now have all monsters reacting. What have we got? We do have a... Oh, he's coming in, is he? We'll go that way then. He's attacking each turn. Okay. So he's not going to leave you alone. Right, there it is. Did B move? Yep, B is now moving. He was static, he's now moving. He's now a wandering monster. We win. Now, the fact that I can move forwards and he attacks, and I can't get away from him, isn't the way the original game worked. And the reason it didn't do it that way in the original game is because that wasn't there. The original game would have had that after to get rid of that problem. Because then the Dijkstra map is correct. But then the player can move into a monster? No. Don't believe they can. So by changing that one position, we change the whole logic. Yeah. Now you can actually try and get away from them. You can't get past them. It won't let you past. Are they attacking in diagonals? They are. Ah. Didn't attack that time. Does attack. Does attack. Does attack. Does attack. And blocks. Doesn't look right. No, I don't like it like that. Because there's an extra logic set that you would have to place in. So we are going with this one. We don't need this information. Clean it up. We don't need that information either. We just need to know the player. Just need to know the player's action. The rest of it we just don't care about. At this point. Nothing's broken. So let's clean this up. Clean that up. And now we can clean that up in the main loop. Lovely. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. That's the game turn action taken. Perfect. Which puts us in the game rules. I'll leave that in because we haven't finished. Just clean up. That's good. Alright, so we've cleaned up. I do need to clean up the other areas as well. We still have a lot of this hanging around. And I prefer to keep it as simple as possible here, because it will look nicer. So let's get rid of all of these notes which are now out of date. They're not part of the system anymore. There we go. It's looking better. Those notes are valid. That lot's valid. Okay. That's no longer valid. Fantastic. We have it. Game turns okay. What else have we been messing with? AI unit. Yeah, that's okay. The physics collision detection, we're okay with. Very simple, very easy. Main loop's okay. Game turn, yeah, that's okay. Happy about that lot. So we're now left with a couple of statements. We have printfs in there. So we have this statement here. And have another one. That one there. Okay, so that's the statement there. That's the statement there. It's obvious where they are. Combat system required. Let's have a look. All of that's now been taken care of. Character sheet and monster stats so we can create a combat system. Okay, I think we can do that. That's where we are now up to. We are now up to the full combat system rule set. We need to think about... think about the old adage. Now, what I'm going to suggest is that we make a set of rules that are self-balancing. But that's impossible. No, it's not. We're going to use the rule of 3. Is that all right with you, Muppet? That's good news. Muppet says yes. Phew, thank God for that. So that's what we need to think about. That's what I want people to think about. How do you make a combat system with a character sheet, monster stats? We create a whole combat system using the rule of 3. Interesting. I want that in the next version. I want to integrate the mouse to give myself a chance of playing the game. So we now have monster movement. Lair monsters now react. It's okay, the cat's on the keyboard. Monsters now react to player. I've got an extra C in there that I don't need it. Stop. Okay. There we go. That was not hard. Thinking through the code review initially is harder than doing the programming. But now I have greater faith in the programming, which means I can go ahead and do like monster stats and character stats or a character sheet without any fear of breaking the monster AI or the ECS system, which is controlling the rendering. And in fact, the two are still separate. The monster manual is still separate from the ECS. Is that a good idea for that data to be outside of the ECS, or should it be an ECS system? I think it should be outside. I don't think it should have anything to do with the ECS. The ECS should only handle what is relevant at any one time, because you can add to and delete from the ECS very simply. So that said, I'll leave that as is. It does mean there are two areas. No, it doesn't. Monster Manual takes care of adding and deleting, or will do. Will control the monster ECS anyway. So that's something to bear in mind, is that the Monster Manual now controls the monster ECS, adding and deletion of monsters. This is going to be more interesting later on when we set limited vision to only, so that you can only have vision over what you can see, basically. And only that, only the objects within that vision will be in the ECS. You don't need any of the other objects in the ECS, unless it's a wandering monster that's going to come off from off screen. Well, yeah, I think we will be altering that. We will be altering that again from wandering to probably reacting instead of wandering. We might be just putting those two lists into one and using that second version so that all monsters react rather than just lair monsters. That does keep the wanderers inside a room, doesn't it? So I've got to be careful. I'll think about it. We can add wandering. Oh no, it's on a separate list anyway, so it doesn't matter. and all the movement and everything is done outside. Well, it's actually now integrated in with the ECS. We just have to be careful which ones we add to the rendering. Right, I've thought through that. That's enough for me now. But we need to think about the game balance. And it's where I think all games fall over that I've seen so far. Any game that I've played has had something called power creep in it. I'm going to write a set of rules that you can't have power creep in. It's an impossibility. Because it's the rule of 3. So there's only 3 variations. You either have it, or it's a 0, or it's a 1, 2, or 3. So no skill, 0 skill, level 1, 2, or 3 skill. That will do it. That actually gives you 5 in total, which is correct. But it is the rule of 3. There's 3 levels to the skill. And it's the levels to the skill that matter. A 0 won't give you a result. It'll give you a base result. For instance, if you have 0 in dagger, it will just give you your unarmed combat skill. It will not give you added damage from the dagger. Have to be careful with that one. I think unarmed combat skill is 1. I think it's going to be -4. We'll have to make it -3. It has to be a factor of 3, doesn't it? Right, that's what we've got to try and work out, is what is the base damage? Or what value do we set the base damage at? And that will decide how nasty the combat system is. And we have to decide it probably within the character sheet, I think. Oh! Well, if physique is 9, it's got to start at 12 to be -3. So there we go. How's about that? I was just thinking about it. I've just taken a look and I've altered it. There you go. That's how I work. Yeah, research tech levels and stuff for the beta. Gained XP can be spent on skills. There you go. Or stats. Or abilities. Or stats. Yeah. That looks better. Okay. Basic game turn created. And that's what we've accomplished. And I think that's a massive accomplishment, considering I'm not a programmer. I'm a systems analyst. I don't program, ever. I can create systems galore. Why did character.h not go? Huh? Ah, right. Go. Go, 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 go. Bye. Thank you. Always ignore. Okay. If it's coming up. So we are now back to the beginning and back to this Character Sheet Monsters thing. Good. We now have a game turn that will accept a combat system. That's more important than anything else. We have a very easy way of initiating combat. Lovely. And on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell for the day. Tomorrow I will... What day are we on? Wednesday? Yeah, tomorrow. I'll start looking at this game balance and the rule of 3, character sheet and the monster stats, and how we can put it all together. Could be interesting. Could be a complete and utter cobbler's up. I don't know yet until I do it. And I don't mind which way it goes. I know that in the end we'll get it right, so we'll be fine. We will be fine. In the meantime, I would like you to take care and enjoy yourselves. Why not?